All right, and I'm going to start by sharing my screen. So my name is Nell Eckersley, and I work at the Literacy Assistance Center with Liz Elena, I'm sure you know, and maybe several other people at the LEC that you've had workshops with. My area that I've worked in for quite a long time is instructional technology, digital literacy skills, whatever. And today we're looking at video from a variety of perspectives. The idea is short, quick, easy to make videos. So this is not a deep, perfect video making workshop. This is very much about how do you just dive in, because I think a lot of people are interested in video, but are maybe nervous, right? Like you have to do a lot of editing and there's a lot of hardware and software and everything that you need. And what our goal today is to say, no, yes, you can do videos like that for sure, but you certainly can do videos very easily just right now, and you will find that out today. So I'm actually going to ask you all to go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat and maybe include what are the things you'd like to learn today, why you chose this workshop. It's very exciting. The workshop sold out, so we had to add a few extra seats. So it's very exciting to have you all here today. But I'd love to know, I'll have a chance to look through the chat in a moment, why you chose this workshop. What about video is interesting to you? So take a moment to do that in the chat. While you're doing that, I'm going to go and start to share my screen. All right, so today we are talking about using video for instruction and feedback. This started off as an idea more around feedback, but actually the more I've done with it, the more I feel like just getting everyone in, throwing everyone in the pool and getting you all feeling more comfortable about making videos is really the goal here. So whether you use it for feedback or instruction or as an introduction, those are all wonderful ways to use video. Let me go ahead. So I am going to give you access to these slides right now, because I think during the session today, it'll actually be helpful if you are able to follow along with some of the live links. So let me add that to the chat. So our slides are in Google. And you can click on the link that I just put in the chat. It'll open up the slides for you. And then when you're in the slides, if you want, you can always save those to your own drive. Let me stop sharing for a second, and then I can demonstrate how you would do that. So if you are not familiar, you can once you have someone shared their slides with you, you can save them as a shortcut to your own drive. I'm going to show you that 1 second here. All right, so I opened up a new account that doesn't have access because I have to show it to you that way. So imagine that you have opened up the links or the link and you're seeing my slides. You're going to see it with view only because I only gave you view access. And you're going to see up here, right beside where the name is, you're going to see a little star and you're going to see a little triangle with a plus sign and a little cloud. So in order, the quick way to make a shortcut to this and save it in your drive so you can come back to it whenever you want to, it'll sit in your shared, if we're looking at your drive right now, it will be in your shared with me, but that list of documents moves around a lot, right? Anything new that you get is going to come down on top of it. It's all chronological. So what's nice about this is you get to decide where you want to put it. So again, I'm looking at the slides that Nell shared the link to. I see that little symbol, which is really my drive. And as I scroll over it, you'll see add shortcut to drive. You can also find this under file, right? It's also here. So if you don't see that little symbol, you can get to it under the file tab. And when you do that, you'll be given an option of where do you want to put it. And that's very nice because then you can put it somewhere that you'll remember, because I will never remember somebody else's file name, very rarely. Maybe I could look up video, but it's really good to put it somewhere that you're going to really remember. Starring it is also a possible way to kind of give a shortcut to it, but that only works if you keep your starred folder pretty organized. So if I was going to do this, I would go to My Drive, I'd click on that little sideways arrow, and then I could even make a new folder and call it video or something that I'm going to remember. And then I can come back to that anytime I want to. So you would then click on the add shortcut. I'm not going to actually do it because I don't want to save it in this other account. But this allows you then to now have the same version I have. So there's one version in the world, and I own it because I made it, and you now all have shortcuts to it. Another way, of course, is to go and make a copy. But if you make a copy, anything that I do to my original slides, you will not see. So the benefit of doing the shortcut is that as I update this, which I tend to do after our session today, questions that you ask, resources that you share, I might add those into the slides. So it's actually, I think for my slides, it's better if you do the shortcut than making a copy, but the copy means you would have a version that you would own and you could edit any way you want to. So that's another option that you have. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing and move us back to our other slides. And I'm actually going to take a quick look in the chat to make sure there's no one asking questions. So again, I see some of you did go in there and introduce yourselves. Please do go in and introduce yourselves, and which basically is your name and the organization you're with. And then if there's anything specific you want to know about video and why you're here today. All right, so I'll go back to sharing my screen here. Okay, so as I said, this is the down and dirty quick video usage making workshop. It's not the deep dive or lots about editing. So if you're interested in video after today, we can certainly maybe have a follow-up workshop where it's a little bit more about the finer details. And there's a lot of videos already on YouTube to help you with that kind of thing too. So this is our agenda today. We're going to talk about why we use video with students. We're going to look at how you can create videos. We're going to look at some examples, and then we're going to talk about sharing videos. And embedding is really part of sharing videos, but you can share links to videos, obviously, and you can also embed your videos in other tools like Google website or slides presentation even. You're going to make a video, and then there's a lot of resources at the end. And you'll notice here that all of these terms or phrases are underlined and are turquoise. Why are they that way? What do you think would happen if you, why is that the case?
They have a link.
Exactly. So in this slide presentation, this acts a bit like a contents page, right? And if I want to, when I come back to these slides, I can go, well, I don't really care about any of these other things. I just want to go to resources. You click on resources and you go straight to resources. The next page will actually take you to the resources. And then you can actually go back to the agenda by clicking this nice big pink button. So later on, when you come back, this allows you to move through the slides as if it was a book, and you don't have to go chronologically. So we're going to continue. And the objectives today are that you will, after the session, be able to identify reasons for using video in instruction. You will be able to create your own instructional or feedback video, and that you'll also be aware of curating and sharing your videos with students and feeling very comfortable with doing both of those things. The link to our slides is here. Obviously, you're already on the slides. Someone just joined us actually, though, so let me add the slide link again. Ooh, I like the hyperlinks point there. So these are our slides again. So I'm sorry, I didn't see who just joined, but someone just joined. Those are our slides. If you want to join us there, you're welcome to. And we are recording today because I messed up the schedule, and we might have some people joining us late. As usual, there's a beautiful website that Liz Elena has put together for you guys with resources and the calendar. So don't forget to access that. And again, that link is live in the slides. Okay, so why use video? And I'm sure many of you have memories. I have memories of my child childhood school experiences where video is often used as a dessert. I feel like, you know, we'd take an English class and you'd read a book, and the dessert was that you were going to get to watch the video, the movie, after you read the book. And that was like 2 days of not doing real work or something like that. So there's a tendency sometimes to think of video as dessert or easy or a break. And that is absolutely true and valuable. But there are a lot of really instructional reasons for using video. And we're going to talk about those a little bit today. But the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to throw you in the swimming pool. Has anyone here used Flip or Flipgrid? No one's used it. We're going to use it today, so it's very exciting. So Flip is, it used to be called Flipgrid. It very recently changed its name to Flip. And basically it's a free website or free app that you can download on your phone or you can use in your browser that allows a person, a teacher, to put out a question and share a link with the people in their class or whoever they want to get information from. And as those people join the conversation, they get to make short little videos to respond to the questions. So it's a little different than having you type it out in Mentimeter or go to a Padlet. This is just another way for us to grab your, oh yay, Ishan says she's used, or he, sorry, has used Flipgrid. Well, exciting. Ishan, can you unmute and tell us a little about your experience using Flipgrid?
Sorry, my sister's in a meeting. Go to the bathroom. Yeah. So I've used Flipgrid with my younger students. So I have them like read a text, and then I give them feedback. Yeah, so it's really
Wonderful.
fun. Yeah.
And how was it when you first introduced it? Was it a difficult tool for people to figure out, or did it? How was that experience?
Yeah, I think the part that's more difficult is the first time I did it, they had to sign in with their accounts or something. Yes. Yeah, that part. And then later I figured out I could do something so they don't need to sign in. Yeah, that made things much easier. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I think we'll encounter that today a little bit, but we are going to do a Flipgrid or a Flip today. So thank you, Ishan, for that. And that is the challenge. So I need an account to create the Flip. You technically don't need an account to respond, but you are going to have to sign in with your email address, and that can be a little confusing. So we're going to look at how, I think what you'll see, and my recommendation for today is to make the video on your phone, but you certainly can do it. So we'll come back to this slide in a moment and you'll get there. So basically when you join, and you'll be given a link, I'll put it in the chat, and I'll also put up a QR code if you want to try and do it with your phone. Once you get to the link, you will be given, you will see this view, and this is where you have to join with an email address. So if you're using Chrome, joining with Google might be the easiest. If you're using an iPhone, maybe joining with Apple is the easiest. I've also joined with Microsoft. But basically it's going to ask you for an email address associated with one of these accounts, but that's all. We found before that sometimes if your account doesn't clearly let them know, as you see here, I signed in as the New York City Coalition, and when I did that, it wanted my birth date. So the very first time you use Flip, you might get to see all these different screens. And then you'll get to a screen that looks like this, which will have our question. And you click on this big pink button that says add responses. And once you do that, you might get something, again, if you're doing it on your computer, particularly on my phone, it did ask me to get permission to use my, microphone and images and whatever. And I said yes, I allowed. And the same thing on your computer, that you'll have to allow it to use your camera and your microphone. And this is what the phone version looks like. So once you get through all those, you'll open up your camera, it'll point it towards you. And the thing you need to know is that this circle is the button to push to start the recording. So it's not recording when you first get there. You have to click on the button and you'll see the time go down. So you have 1.5 minutes to put in your recording. Try clicking on these guys on the side, because there's some fun things that you can do there. And then, you can control your mic and your camera up at the top. You can add happy faces and other emojis. You could have an image instead of you there. But we're not looking for anything fancy. So depending on your own comfort level, resilience with technology, you can click around, or you can just make your video. On a computer, you'll see something. I don't know why it's showing it this way, but basically you see the same thing where the screen on top is what you get to second. The first screen is has that same circle dot thing that you have to push on to get it started. And then once you're done, you click on that again, and now you get a screen where you technically could go in and edit. You could also decide, I don't like this at all. I'm just going to delete it. I'm not going to save it to the conversation. You could put in a caption if you want to have a link, like you were telling us a story and you want to link out to something that was related to that, but today you don't need to do that. And then post it to topic. That's the last step. And that's what allows it to be added to our conversation today, and other people will be able to see it. And then you get a nice confirmation and you can go back to the topic. So that's kind of helpful to remember that you can click on the big pink button there to go back to the topic, and then you'll see everything. So let's go back to our actual assignment. Here we go. So I'm going to give you this link in the chat. Well, so you can see they make it very easy, right? The link is going to be in flip.com with a bunch of numbers and letters afterwards, case sensitive, I'm sure. But it might be easiest. So the next step, you're all going to have, we're going to say, we'll give you 5-10 minutes to do this. Breath, be brave if you're nervous about this, but it'll be really fun. You can either click on that link, you can even leave the Zoom and come back if you want to do it on your computer. But I think for today, it might just be easiest to do it with your phone. So you would then either go to your browser on your phone and type in that link, or scan that QR code. And then you should follow through with all those steps we just showed you. It should be pretty easy. You're just going to move through. The main thing is reading what the little pop-ups say if you get confused. I'll be here. I'm going to turn my mic off, but I'm going to be here while you're doing this. So it's now 10:21. We're going to come back at 10:30. So at 10:30, I'm going to keep an eye on, everyone will be able to see the responses as you post them. Now, the question is, how do you use video with students, right? So we're just now dealing with all the technical pieces of that, of how to participate in the flip. But the really important thing here is the answer to the question, right? So the idea here is to hear from you already how you have used video, whether it's video you made, video you found on YouTube. And if you don't use video with students, then just tell us a story about video, the way you have used video, or maybe like my story earlier on, like how video was used with you when you were a student. So we're going to take a moment. You're going to go to that flip. Paget, I see you've responded in the chat. That's fantastic, but now you have to go make your video. So go to it. I'm going to turn off my mic. If you have questions, feel free to unmute and ask them. Otherwise, you go do your video. So you're going to get your phone or your computer and go to that flip link. All right, so we are coming back. I'm going to check and see how many of them came through. We're up to 5. That's fantastic. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I want to check in with you all. So how was that experience? Those of you who were able to complete and upload your video, what was the experience like? You compare it to what you would have, if I'd asked you to. So originally when I started doing this, I was like, oh, I'll do a Mentimeter, and you guys can all write your little, what you're doing. And I was like, well, this is a workshop on video, so let's think about how it would be to use video in this experience. And I for myself, I thought for a moment, like, well, that's a big leap. right? That's hard. I'm gonna throw people, like I said, throw you in the swimming pool. We're gonna get right into it. Yes, I see some people are putting stuff in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
tried
go ahead.
first to do it in the computer.
Yeah.
So I did it, but I didn't have virtual background, and I have my closet here, and I didn't want to show. So
Yes.
I went to the phone,
Yes.
and it was pretty easy, but I noticed that I wanted to add, for example, an emoji or
Yes.
I think you have to do it before, something like that. I was trying to figure it out but it's very nice. Yeah.
Well, and I love that you tried that. So this is one of those things where whenever we're using tech, I think having that sort of mentality of like, what would happen if? What would happen if I tried this? Because you're right. I haven't used the emoji, so I don't know if you have to do it before or after. So this would be the kind of thing where you would do it more than one time. The first time, you know, it's like, oh, what, like I'm seeing here that someone said they couldn't post it. Okay, so let's go back and see if I can demonstrate that. It looks
Yeah,
like a
in
couple
the
people.
phone,
Yeah,
in the phone asked me, do you want it to add it as a profile? And I, no. And then I look for
add it to the,
something appear, yeah, your picture with the topic or something. And then I say, oh, topic, yeah.
yeah, so those steps might be a little confusing. So I see Sharon, it looks like a couple of folks had this issue. So let's see if I can, it won't be the same when I show you on the computer, but it'll give you a basic idea. So I'm gonna see if I can actually do one very quickly. We can look at it together. So I want to go to here. So I don't know if it's gonna let me do one here, it probably won't. All right, let me actually stop this share and I'm gonna share another screen. So one of the tricky things, you can see it as a person creating it, right? You can see what you've created. You can see a view that the view that other people are going to see, but you can't, and you can add your own video at the beginning of it. Right now, I didn't see an easy way to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up in a different account. All right, let's see what we can do here. So let me share. Okay, so if I paste that link in here, as you all saw, right, it asks you to join with whatever I'm going to use Google just because I'm logged into Chrome. But I didn't have to create an account. Now, if I was doing this with my students a lot, or I plan to do it with my students a lot, I might want to have everyone get the app or create their own accounts, because really this could be used by students as well, right? They could be the ones creating the question and everyone else responding. So the benefit here is, as the creator, the person creating the question, I have to have an account. People who are joining don't have to have an account. But if you're going to use it a lot, maybe everyone should get accounts, and then this stuff will be made a little easier. So if I'm here and I click on add response, and I don't know what it's going to do to my camera, so let's see what will happen. Yes, it won't let me do it because I'm already on the camera with you. But basically there should have been, let me see, did I put it in my shot of that? Yes, I see several people commenting that, you know, first time is always hard, right? So if you're doing it again, it might be a lot easier. And maybe at the end, we'll fit one more in. All right, let me go back to my slides and see if I did a screenshot of what I think you should see. So you guys did that part. You clicked on add response, I think. So that might be the first step. If you didn't do add response, then maybe it doesn't know. Then it comes up with the wanting permissions. And I'm going to take this one away for a second. So I pressed on this little round circle that started my recording. Then I got this screen, and there's a little next button there. I think on my phone, there must have been something like a next button as well. And I got post to topic. So it sounds like some of you did not see that link. and maybe only got the option to add it to your profile, which is interesting. So we'll play with it again later, and maybe you can even share your screens and show us the struggle, because that's frustrating. And you might be able to go in and actually add it to the topic anyway. So we'll work with that. You also can share the video. It may have given you a link to sharing it. If you want to do that, you can always add that to the chat if if you're feeling sad that we can't see your videos. And I'm not going to play them right now. I'm going to come back to that later, but I wanted you to feel, that it wasn't too terrible to have to make videos very spontaneously. And one way to use them, which is to get responses from students, right? So let me see, did anybody else have any other responses in the chat? Thank you. I see Natalia went ahead and shared her flip video link. That's fantastic. Does anybody else want to talk a little bit about what the experience was like, or if you can imagine using this with students? Go ahead and unmute. Sharing for seconds.
No, I think it's a great tool, a great idea, and because also students are used to the video thing, the TikTok, the Instagram, so can be something that it's grab their attention, or they can be more interested.
Yes. Do you think
I
you
also think that they will love it. Yeah, 100%.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And do you think you would use this inside class, or this might be something that they would do as homework? Maybe you put out a question and then they have to do the video as homework, and then when you come back to class, you could review what people
I think
said.
it's important to have very clear guidelines, like what topic we want to talk, what things they cannot say. I mean, very specific.
Yes, and you do, as a person creating it, right? So today you can think about what was helpful and what wasn't. Like, I didn't give you, explicit enough, or there's a challenge to showing you how to do it on my computer while I'm using my Zoom. So I couldn't really show you, but maybe I could film myself doing it on my phone, and then you would have had those screenshots.
But I mean, because the students sometimes they start
They
to
say
whatever
things.
they want to talk. Yeah,
Yes, yes. But I think that's a great conversation to have, right? This is going to be public consumption, right? That other people are going to see it. But this is a huge, when we talk about digital literacy skills, right? One of them is how to be safe and savvy online, like how to make good choices. So this is a safe space in the sense that only the people in your class can see it. And if someone does do something that's inappropriate, that's maybe an opportunity to talk about it. If you know that that's a problem in your class, then you have to figure out how to.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
But when you set it up, you do set up a question. And again, how you start that off with students. And certainly the first time I would ever use this with folks, I'd want to do it where we were all doing it together, or at least nearby, and they could come back and ask questions. But then maybe I would think about doing this homework. And I think this is something several of you have said this, that our students might be more using video even more than we are. Or certainly, I think about my nieces and nephew, who are all quite a lot younger, right? They're children really still, but this is such a familiar way of sharing information for them that they create the videos themselves. And I think for people my age, I hear from folks like, I don't have anything to say. Why would I send a video or whatever? So I think it's an interesting exercise in that. So Sharon asks, can you just send the video by text or email? And you absolutely can. So this is a tool. I think the benefit of Flip is that it easily connects all these videos with a topic, and everyone can see the responses, right? And the teacher doesn't have to do any extra work. And you can embed a Flip in your Google Classroom and a variety of other learning management systems. But you don't have to use Flip, right? Students absolutely could just make their own video responding to a question or describing a situation or something, and send that link to you or send you the video. The question would be, is the video just for you to see? Are you okay doing that work rather than having it all being done by Flip? I think again, if I watch my own decision making, this is a big piece of being a teacher in our, our own digital literacy skills, is making those choices, right? Deciding which tool to use when is actually one of our big responsibilities. And so deciding, is this something everyone should see? Is the skills that we're going to practice by getting everyone on Flip worth the time? Is there a benefit to doing it that way? Absolutely not required. And later on, you're going to make your own videos, and we're not going to use Flip, and you're just going to use your own videos, and we're going to talk a little bit about the best ways, or the easiest ways and best ways to share videos, because that is another component. They're large files, and sending them from your device to a central location can be difficult, especially depending on your data plan. I know I have a Android phone, and when I receive videos from Apple or from my phones, they come out little tiny weird little videos. So I don't like that. I want them attached as an email. So there's some stuff there. But yes, absolutely, Sharon's point is a good one, that depending on what you're going to do with the video content, you do not need to use Flip, or you can use Flip. Okay, we're going to continue. Yes, and I see somebody else. Alicia, you mentioned, I'm sorry if I pronounce anyone's name wrong, you can always direct chat me and tell me the better way to pronounce things. Yes, to create a video introducing themselves, my class, after writing an essay based on myself, which would be amazing, right? To have, so again, if you're using Flip, it will be a bunch of little videos where everyone's describing themselves, and it's a very easy way for other people to watch each other. But that also could be a YouTube playlist, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that. And so, so yeah. All right, back to our screens. So, well, actually, I'm going to ask a question before I do that. How many of you have a Google account? And you can either raise your hand, you can turn on your camera, you can do something to let me know. If you have, oops, I see lots of thumbs ups and hand raises. All right, so I'm going to guess we're usually about 100% at this point that have Google accounts. How many of you have YouTube accounts? I'm sorry if my sound's been weird. How, anybody here have a YouTube account? One person saying yes. Because it's a bit of a trick question. If you have a Google account, you actually have a YouTube account. You just never knew it, maybe, or you never logged into it. So today it's important to know that, because we are going to use YouTube. So fantastic for those of you who had thumbs up that they knew they had YouTube accounts and maybe have actively used them. So what I'm going to show you here, so this is my, to go along with YouTube, right? We talk a little bit about how you have, okay, I'm not going to go back to our not shared screen, but I'm going to guess again, 100% of you have watched a video on YouTube at this point. And we're going to call that, yes, exactly. We're going to call that consuming. So usually 100% of us are happy with consuming video content, right? We've gone, maybe we needed instructions on how to do something, or we watched a funny video that someone shared with us, or maybe it was instructional video that you created even, but you consumed a video. In our world, and I'm seeing some people have joined us, and I apologize, we got started. There was a time issue. I'll come back to tell you, Robert. I think I just saw you join us. I will get you the link to our, maybe I can do it right now. Our slides. No, I will come back and give you the link to the slides. Or if someone else can copy that link to the slides and put it in the chat, that'd be lovely. So we're very good with consuming. We don't need, the way that the internet has been created or developed over time, pretty much you don't need an account to consume, right? You don't actually have to log in to YouTube to watch a video. Thank you so much, Lindsay. You don't have to log in to see a lot of different kinds of content. So we call that consuming, and we're really good at it, all of us. When I ask folks how many have ever made a video and put it on YouTube, the number usually goes down to about 20%. And this is just universal. I mean, I can do workshops in other states or across the country, and it's usually about 20% of folks have created a video. To create, and again, this is true kind of pretty much universally on the internet, to create something and share it, you do need an account. Google is a great example, right? I can make a slideshow to share with you. I'm the creator, I need an account. You're just a consumer, you do not need an account. So that's pretty typical. And then we have a third component, which we're going to call curating. And curating, I think, is often forgotten, but it's a huge piece of what teachers do. So for us, most of the time, our job is to find the best book to share with our students, to decide the order of things that we're going to teach them in class. We take in information from them for sure, but we are the if this was our art gallery, we are the ones putting this stuff on the walls often, right? That's very true. And that's a huge skill. And with YouTube as an example, when I asked about the creating, like I said, usually about 20%, curating similarly is about 20%. And curating in YouTube is about making playlists. So playlists allow you to take content from the world that's on YouTube or your own content and make these folders. Basically, a playlist is kind of like a folder of content that's related in some way. And then you can share one link, and when the person opens that link, they will see all of that content. You can even sort of dictate the order of the content, right? So this is a very important, it's fun for you. Maybe there's stuff on YouTube that you really like, and now you can make a playlist where you basically save it all in one place. But it's really useful for students, and it's useful for students to know how to do that. So while we have and one of the other points there with the curate is often that the create and curate are both about 20%, but they're a different 20%. There are a few people who've done both, but often there are people who've made playlists who've never added their own content to YouTube, and vice versa. So by the end of today, maybe you'll all be in all of these categories. We'll see how that goes. So consuming, creating, curating, these are things to consider when you're developing your classes. Or your lesson plans. Are you including opportunities for the student to do all three of these things? They should be practicing these skills too. So while, as I said, the flip is interesting to me as a teacher, I actually think it'd be really interesting after students become familiar enough with it, that they are the ones actually creating the question and other students are responding to it. So they can then be the creators as well as the consumers. And in this sense, they're actually creators too, because they've been making the video anyway. All right, so we're going to talk about video in two different ways. We're not going to talk a lot about pre-made video, but there are reasons to use video in instruction. And I say pre-made here, it doesn't have to be pre-made. It means the video that you might have made or that the world gave you, right? It's the idea that it gives you background knowledge on a topic, depending on how you use video, right? If students are watching a video before you talk about something, maybe that's their homework and that's the way you introduce a topic. Bringing in multiple modalities. So we might do, reading, writing, maybe reading and writing even on a screen. And now we're talking about video. Audio is also another modality. And that not only helps every student, but some students really, it really resonates for them. And I remember doing a workshop with someone brought up the fact that they don't like how-to videos. They actually want a step-by-step written out instructions. And that's important for us to remember, right? If we've been meeting in person today, maybe I would have given you a handout that would have taken you step-by-step through using Flip. Sometimes though, I think we have to help folks get away from that, especially with digital skills, because digital skills, if you're really going step-by-step with instructions all the time, you kind of lose sometimes the, I don't know what to call it, the familiarity that you might develop if you're just going in there like, well, okay, last time I clicked on 3 dots, it took me to more information. Maybe I'll try that again. So with technology, and especially this idea of developing resiliency around technology, we want to develop skills that will help us when everything changes or when things break, because that's inevitable with technology. And as a teacher, you may have some nervousness anyway, but even if you don't, it's really great to demonstrate to your students how you handle when you do come up against a problem. That was a whole long tangent, but anyway, basically, what came up with the student was that she really wanted things written down and not videos, where I'm like, oh, but a video is so easy for me to do actually, and for them, for whoever I'm working with, to see the actual visual step by step and stop it and rewind and play again. Videos can help in visualizing an event or a person that you actually, maybe happened in the past, is happening in somewhere very far away, creates an emotional connection. And the reason I have this little brain picture here is if Liz Elena was here and talked about brain-based learning, that's a big piece of how people take information in, right? They need to associate it. Having an emotional component to it can really help that. A visual component can help with that. There's reinforcing after the learning has happened. So we talked a little bit here at the beginning of introducing a topic through video, but you could also have a sort of reinforcement at the end. And then there's also just having something novel and fresh that can really get deep into the brain. Now, there is a trick to using video well with students, and that is that you definitely need to have sort of an on-ramp and a off-ramp. So if I just show you a video, you probably will have a really lovely experience and you'll be very happy, but will you be able to actually access the content that you were being given during the video? To help you create a space in your brain for what the video is going to tell you, that's where we need an introduction. We need to have some pre-thinking. And then the video itself, you can have questions embedded there. We're not going to talk about Edpuzzle today, but Edpuzzle is a tool that allows you to take a video from YouTube and actually insert questions into it. So the video will stop, the student will be asked a question and they have to answer it, and then they get notified whether it was right or wrong and why it's right or wrong, and then they move along the video. That's also another way to really help capture what's important. Or you could have people writing out on a piece of paper, right? Like, okay, remember to identify 3 different things that the speaker says was the cause of independence, or whatever it is that you're doing, right? And then at the end, a review of what did we learn. Video particularly, it's so easy for it to just flow over us and not stick. So we have to create these little sticking points. So that's something to remember when you do use video. And then we can talk about the kinds of videos that we create. So that was true for all video, right? This is the video that we're creating. What kinds of videos are kind of low-hanging fruit for teachers? And if you have other thoughts, do put them in the chat or unmute. Feel free to share. But today we're looking at the idea that video could be used for feedback. So I don't know if you're teaching in person now or virtually, but sending students a little screencast of you and the work that you're looking at, and letting them know, the things that you would do differently, or asking them to correct things. That can be a very nice personalized way to get information. Teaching short lessons, and I emphasize short because today we're really talking about short videos. Obviously, you can do. I have made videos. Today's video, we're recording this session. It will be a long video, and there are ways to identify moments in the video so people can come back to them. That's another thing to think about. I think I spelled individualized very weirdly there. We'll fix that. Anyway, short lessons are easier. People don't really like to watch videos for more than, I think, 7 minutes, they say. 2 minutes is great. If you do a longer video, you are going to want to maybe give some time points in the about section so that people can hop to the different locations within the video. Introducing yourself as a teacher, or introducing your school, your program, or giving people basic directions on how to do something, but also actually how to get somewhere. And then recording an interview. Those are some thoughts I had. If you have other ideas about how video content, and I saw some in the chat. Let's go back and see in the chat here. Right, so students introducing themselves. Let's see. So Paget, you said you were working on a video on writing. You want to talk a little bit about what that looks like, or what you're hoping to accomplish? Paget, I think you might be muted. I'm not sure. Oh. Oh, okay, that's fine. So Paget can't get to sound. That's fine. If you want to write in the chat a little bit more about what you're doing, that would be lovely. Going back again, let's see. Right, so Berioska, I see that you do some things using video in class where you record some short dialogues with students right in the act. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. The thing is that my background is theater, so I
Oh.
really like to work with the students. After a few weeks, I always tell them that we are going to write short dialogues, like in real time, thinking about what happened in the real life, if they're gonna buy a coffee or something. So they just write very short, excerpt, dialogues, conversation. And I asked them that I'm going to record, that is only for us, of course, for our use, and we have a Google Classroom, and sometimes I upload it to Google Classroom, and they love it. They really like it. I use my phone for editing,
Nice.
like simple editing, right?
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. I think Sharon, did you say that you did something with let's see.
I would like to do it more professional, but yeah.
It is a huge, full editing is a huge piece of work. We've been watching a lot of YouTube channels where people do videos like every week, and you're like, wow, that must be almost their full-time job. But
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So Sharon, I see you say you narrate over PowerPoint slides and send them to your students. Can you talk a little bit about that? Or you can write it in the chat if it's hard to talk. All right, well, I'm going to move along. I don't know if you were trying to unmute. Anyway.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
you. Yes, fantastic.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
it's all
sorry.
good.
So I'm a literacy tutor, and right now I have one student who is unique in that he has a university degree from Mexico. He's a United States citizen, but was taken back as a young child to Mexico. So he has, it's not like teaching a young person or an uneducated, formally uneducated person English as a second language. So he recognizes much more vocabulary, and he can read and has the discipline to look up words. What he cannot do is speak out loud with any kind of fluency. The pronunciation is not that bad, but the fluency is missing. So, while we're together only 2 hours a week, I can correct that, but he lives in a Latino environment, so he doesn't hear or speak English regularly. So what I've been doing is sort of reconstructing some methods that I learned when I learned to speak Spanish, and that is to narrate over slides. For example, say, in English, to say lo bueno es, we say, the good thing is. Repeat. Then I wait. Then I say it again. Then I give him time to repeat it. So at least he's talking out loud and he's hearing my correction. And then we put it all together to practice fluency. So that's sort of, my modest goal at this point, is to be a daily presence in his life with scenarios and vocabulary that would be useful to him as, an accountant turned dishwasher in a restaurant.
Right.
And with his buds, with the World Cup coming up on November 22nd. So, that kind of thing. So that's what I use it for.
That's fantastic. It's like you're making your own little Duolingo or something, but very specific to the student's needs. So that's fantastic. Do you think he's accessing this mostly on his phone?
He has a laptop, but
Okay.
also he was glad to know he could do it at the phone. So at the restaurant, he could just go sit out in the back and listen. I try to send one a day.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. And I think that's a great point too about the phone, right? So video is really, there are some things that are very hard to do on the phone. I was talking to some folks the other day who were trying to have students create their own slides on their phones, which I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But sharing a video or making a video on a phone is really lovely. And I love the point about not only is it not so terrible to watch a video, but you have it with you. So no matter where you are, right? When you have a break at work, that's something. And I think, again, what I would be willing to do during my break, I'm not going to pull out a bunch of papers probably and read something, but I might look at it on my phone. So that's also about reading on the phone, but certainly video, I think, is something people, it's a treat, even if it's work. All right, I'm going to go back to sharing our screen. If there are anybody else want to jump in? I know you guys wrote some other stuff in the chat. It's all the way at the beginning, so I might have missed some stuff here. Let's see. Ishan, did you say you've been using with young learners, but and maybe you don't want to talk about that. Do you want to share a little bit what you did even with young learners?
Yeah, with young learners, yeah, so I use Flipgrid all the time with them. I think they really like it because they can add like emojis and then change their background. So they find that to be really fun. And they also, I think they can also like leave comments on other people's videos. So I like that because it just makes the whole experience more interactive.
That's fantastic. That's really good to hear. All right, I'm going to go back. Let's get us moving along here. So I just gave you some brief ideas here. Obviously, people are showing even other more fantastic ideas. So there's lots of ways to use content that we're creating ourselves. And then video feedback, you know, there are a variety of reasons to use it. If it's something you end up feeling that you want to do, we call them like this example here on the right side is actually a video that you can go watch if you want to. I'm not going to play it now, but this is demonstrating what we call screencasting, which does really require you to have a computer, so a laptop or computer, just because you need a bigger screen. You can screencast from your phone, but it would be harder to use in this way. And a screencast allows the person watching the video to see your screen. And often there's a little thumbnail of you in the bottom corner. So if I was making a Zoom recording and I didn't invite anybody else to come to my Zoom, but I was recording what was on my screen, again, often I'll have a little thumbnail of me. There's something nice about seeing the face of the talker or the speaker. But I can take people through my slides. I can demonstrate how would I do Flipgrid, right? So those are all things that screencasting allow you to do. And when you're doing feedback, that's often very helpful. So if you're looking at students writing or some work that they've done, you can show that writing and actually, you know, use your cursor to move around inside it while you're narrating what's going on. Oops, I don't know.
Hello.
Sorry. Okay. And then more general guidelines for giving feedback if that's something you decide you want to do. All right, so now we're going to talk about creating videos. So you guys already did that today, right? Many of you created videos using Flip. When we think about making videos, we might think that we need, you know, hardware. I remember I was actually in teachers college early in my college days, and we had to do it was a class on curriculum and instruction, and one of the things we had to do was make an instructional video, and I had to borrow a big giant video camera that actually took a whole VHS tape, and then I had to, you know, so it was a very big deal. So nowadays we often have smartphones or tablets near us or in our pockets. We might have a webcam on our computer or laptop. Often that includes a microphone. Lighting is something that some people pay more attention to others. I would certainly keep an eye on your lighting if you're making videos for students to see you talking. Tripods can be great to give you both hands. And then green screen is super cool in that you get to really make backgrounds do things. But in reality, we don't need all of this stuff. We really just need our smartphones and then or a tablet or a computer with a webcam microphone. That one of those things is all we need for what we're doing today. All right. Can someone, hi Marika, I think you just joined us, and I have to apologize. There was a snafu in the way the Eventbrite was set up. So it looked like it started at 11, but really it started at 10. So we're recording and you'll get the video, so you'll have all the beginning parts. But can someone, again in the chat, paste the link to our slides, or I'll come back and do that in a little while, but thank you very much. So similarly, when we think about making videos, we might think, oh, we also need a bunch of software, right? I already mentioned Zoom. Zoom's actually my favorite way of doing screencasting, but many of my colleagues like Screencast-O-Matic, and there are other tools out there to do screencasting. WeVideo has, you can make your own GIFs or GIFs, and it can be kind of a fun tool to use. Flip we use today. Loom is a bit like Flip in that you can keep the video in Loom. So today we're going to use YouTube to share our videos, but when you do it with students, you may want to consider whether that's what you want to use or not. And Flip and Loom both have that benefit of actually allowing the videos to stay inside those tools. You can send links out so people can get to your videos, but you don't have to post them on YouTube. YouTube, when you upload your videos, you get to choose the privacy level. There are 3 levels. One, I think, is private, which is just you. Literally no one else can see the video, just you. There's a middle one. I'm not going to remember right now. We'll see it in a moment in the slides, which only people that you give a link to or get the link, because remember, someone else could share the link with somebody else, blah, blah, blah. But only people with a link can see it. So it's not something that people will just come across when they're searching on YouTube. And then the third one is totally public, and that one would eventually be findable. And you can decide, certain kinds of content you certainly don't want to put up on YouTube. Some students might be nervous about having their faces on somewhere on the internet. So those are all things to take into, when you're making a decision to use video, those are things to consider. Which tool you decide to use, that also can be based a little bit on that, knowing your students and what they have access to and their own feelings about having their like with Flip, for example, today we were making recordings of our faces. You actually could put an image up and speak about the image rather than having your face show, if that's a concern for someone. iMovie, there's a really complex iMovie tool that's very, very robust and deep. There's also just a kind of a light version that you get when you get an iPad and maybe on an iPhone, I don't know. And the light version is quite lovely. You can use it as it often comes with, or I think it comes with a, like you can make movie previews, which I've seen teachers use as a way to do book reports. So in that case, they kind of give you a storyboard and you're just putting bits of video or images in, and it creates a beautiful kind of very professional looking music, titles kind of situation. Beyond, which makes animated videos. So there's little characters that you get to put in and they open their mouths and then your voice is coming out. And Powtoon is sort of similar. So that's a lot of different things. What do we actually need for today? Today, we're just going to use our mobile phone. So we used Flip earlier, and Flip is great when you want everyone to respond to the same question and you want everyone to be able to see it. But for today's purposes, we're going to use just our phones, just the camera, the video part of your camera app, and then we're going to be putting onto YouTube. So we don't need lots of software just for this, just to get ourselves in there. Kristen, I see you joined. So my apologies. We started at 10 today, even though I know the Eventbrite and Zoom said 11. So we've been going for an hour, but we are recording with the idea that you'll have access to everything at the beginning. And the beginning was a lot of the intro, why we use video, and we did do a flip, but you'll see that.
Okay, thanks.
So my apologies. And I don't know, was someone lovely enough to, yes, I see, first of all, a lovely comment in here. YouTube on how to create poetry. Right, so poetry would be a really interesting way to use Flip, I think, to share. And your question can also be in the form of a video. So you could be reading the video, reading the poem, and then students could respond to the video that way. Let me see here. I'm just gonna. I wanted to give Kristen the slides, and I didn't want to keep asking you all for the favor of adding them in there. So our slides are there, Kristen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so some examples of teacher created video. We have here an example of feedback, which this is a screencast using Loom. As I mentioned, Loom is kind of like Flip in that the recording stays inside Loom. You can add Loom to your phone, to your computer, and then it basically is there and you can just click on it anytime you want to make a screencast. It's kind of waiting for you to use. And I'll play a little bit of it. Let me know if the sound doesn't come out. I think I optimized for sound, but we'll see. Yes.
No, I'm seeing a little black box
Okay.
over your screen in the lower right-hand corner.
Did it go away now?
No.
That is weird. Is everybody
Now
else
it's
seeing
go-
that? Now it's gone.
Yeah,
Okay,
now
I
it's
think that was
over right.
that
Yeah.
was the chat window for some reason.
Oh, okay.
That was in a goofy thing there. Oh, well, let's see if this wants to come up. Oh, might want me to sign in. Shouldn't have to.
Hi, Isabel. This is Mrs. Ferguson, and this is the feedback on your CER. So I see that you got your research question, you got the claim, the evidence. You should have a picture of your plan.
I think, yes. So you can see here, you can play back at different rates. So that was fast. So I'm going to change that back to 1.
That shows like here are the phenotypes and this is what they look like. And when you are doing the chi-square data analysis, you need to state your null hypothesis.
All right, so I'm not going to play more. You have access to this, but you get the sense, right? This is quite a high-end, I think a college professor may be talking to a student about statistics or science. Looks like it's biology maybe. But you get the sense, right? And this is how Loom looks. So you would create your own account. People can watch the video without having an account, just like we said earlier with our consume, create, and curate. So Loom is an interesting tool for that reason. And this idea of being able to show a student their paper and talk about it can be very useful. This is another way of making a video. So this was an introduction I had to do when I was taking a class. And I don't know if you know, but in YouTube, in Zoom, when you share your screen, you have the option of, under advanced settings, putting a PowerPoint as your virtual background. So you can't put Google Slides, and that's a struggle for me because I make everything in Google Slides. But if you want for this purpose, you can make a slideshow, a PowerPoint. You add it as your background, and then as you're moving through the video, you can move the background behind you. So you kind of act a little bit like a, I don't know, weather person or something like that. So I'm going to, again, play a little piece of this just so you get a sense of what it does. And you have it again in the thing. So I'm going to move. Hi, my name is Nell Eckersley, and I work in New York City at the Literacy Assistance Center. As I move along, you can see the backgrounds change. Exciting time, but a difficult time. I think you're probably all living in versions of this where we are both working from home as well as living at work. Here you can see me in my home office with my cat, who is very sad that I use a standing desk and don't have a place for him to sit. Playfulness, I think, around technology is really... All right, so again, it's there for you to watch. It was 3 minutes long, which actually feels really long. So if you do decide to do something where students are introducing themselves, you want to give them a time limit. You may want to give them a structure, or at least discuss a structure so they know kind of what kinds of things should they include. Maybe you have a sample. Having a sample video can be very helpful. So those are some things when you're making asking them to introduce themselves. If this is just your introduction, it's fun. And then you could ask questions afterwards, right? So it becomes a comprehension exercise. So this is what I was mentioning. When you go to Zoom and you do share screen, there's the advanced tab here in the middle. You're usually in the basic tab. In the advanced tab, they've added PowerPoint as virtual background. So that's what that was. And again, you're just advancing the slides, and that's how they change behind you. So if you're thinking about videos, like I think folks in the session have already given you, I mean, some amazing ideas about things you could do with videos straight away. Because that ultimately becomes the issue, right? That we tend to think that tech or the how to make the tech is the hard part. And in reality, that is hard in the beginning when you don't know it. But in reality, the hard part is the content. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? How are you going to use it well? There's always going to be little tech issues here and there, but once you get the basic setup down, certainly there'll be YouTube videos out there to help you improve that piece. But you are the ones who come with the content, right? You're the ones who know what the lesson's about and what you want people to leave with, and the experience that you want to create. So that actually is what, you guys are the most important part of this. But for the sake of practicing, we're going to give you some ideas of kinds of content that we'll talk about doing a video on today. So sharing a video then becomes the next piece, right? So you made your beautiful video today. I know several of you made videos as part of the Flip experience, but we're not able to upload them, and that's very frustrating, right? Or at least not share them to our particular topic. So sharing video becomes the next really important piece. And we've also talked a little bit about the fact that, students are probably going to be accessing video on a variety of tools. So it's something they should be able to access easily on their phones as well as on a computer. How do you share right now? I'm going to stop sharing for a second. How do you share content with your students? Are you posting things on a website? Do you use an LMS? Or email them? How do you, if you wanted students to get a link to work on outside of class, how would you get that to them? Feel free to put it in the chat or unmute if you want to share. Schoology, right. So Kristen mentions Schoology, which is a learning management system like Google Classroom. WhatsApp, nice. Remind, Google Classroom, email, right? So there's a lot of different ways. WhatsApp, excellent. And Google Classroom, right? So the nice thing with all the tools that have been listed here are that they are very mobile friendly. So if you know that, and texting, nice. You know that your students might be accessing this on their phones, or computer, that you're making sure that the content, that the link gets to them in a way that's useful. And this is where YouTube also comes in, because YouTube is so easy to get to on the phones. Most people have even the app on there, but even without that, you can, right. So Sharon mentions that videos are too long, so only available for 3 days, right? So this also is an issue with video, particularly, that if you're going to share the file, not a link to it, but an actual file, that is very, takes up a lot of memory and is difficult both to send, but also then for the person to store on their device. So there are some, so YouTube is one option, right? We talked about Loom, we talked about Flip, certainly even a Google folder could be a place where you put the videos and then you can make links to them. So students, again, don't have to download the video, but they can access on the link. The downside of that is that they need to have Wi-Fi or internet or use their data plan. And that can be problematic. So sometimes it is great for them to actually get the video and know they can delete it. And so practicing that skill of like, get the video, it's a big file, you're going to watch it, but then we're going to delete it later on and you'll know that it's over here if you want to come back and see it. Again, all of this speaks a little bit to why I'm going to suggest YouTube as an option, because I think YouTube deals with a lot of this, right? So there's direct links to content on YouTube and the student doesn't have to download, but they can download. So if they have access to the internet for parts of the day, they could still download the video and have access to the video for a period of time. Not all videos can be downloaded, but many of them can. But again, that's you knowing your students. Are they going to have internet access and they can get to these videos live? Is there a period of the day when they would have access at least? Or if that's not feasible, then maybe this is not a homework assignment. This is something we're going to do in class together. All right, now share the screen again. So sharing video. Also to note, and I don't think this is such a big issue. I know it was early days, YouTube was often if you were working within a school or a university, sometimes YouTube was banned or links were not, you couldn't open links in the lab, for example. PureView does give you a version of YouTube that has been scrubbed of ads. So if it's a concern for your program or for you, you can show videos that way. I kind of think for adults, it's important, rather than doing it that way, to just discuss the ads and why there are ads and how to handle ads, rather than just not having them there, because it is so part of our lives these days. We made a joke the other day that my husband and I were talking about something, and like the next day there were ads related, and we're like, phones listen? Did we search for something somewhere? And now it's showing up everywhere. So a conversation about how ads are who's figuring out what you should see is a very good conversation to have around video. And then working on your YouTube search. So interesting too, when I've talked to some folks about how they look up information on the internet, I'm still a Googler, right? I would tend to go to Google and search, but I've heard from several people that they just go straight to YouTube. They don't even do Google. They go to YouTube and they put their search in there. So this is some deeper search tools that might help when you're in there trying to search. Because I find YouTube internally very goofy as far as it's very interesting trying to find things when the words, what was I looking at? I was looking something up yesterday, and however I was phrasing it was absolutely not getting me the responses I needed. So working on search is another great set of digital skills that it's good to practice. And I did mention Edpuzzle. So we're not going to do Edpuzzle today. Liz Elena, we are doing an Edpuzzle session on links that Liz Elena has set up, I think, for December. So you can come to that if you want to go deep into Edpuzzle. But Edpuzzle is an interesting tool. It allows you to make your own videos and upload them, or go to YouTube and grab a video, and then you can embed questions or audio, an audio introduction, for example, or questions inside the video, which really does help the person watching the video know exactly what to zero in on. So it can be a really useful way when you're looking at more instructional type videos, especially content that maybe you're not making yourself, so it's not exactly the way you would do it, but you can zero in on the stuff by adding questions at the right time. So go over this now, and then you're going to probably want to go over it again, because if you've never put a video on YouTube, it can be a little confusing in the beginning, but we are going to do that today. So we will post a video on YouTube. You can always take it down, and we'll talk about how you can delete videos from YouTube. So, but I want you all to be able to do it at least, and then you can choose never to do it again if you want to. So when this is actually sharing a YouTube video that exists already, and I'm just going to go out to real life YouTube. Let's see here. So back to my fantastic video. Okay, so you found a video on YouTube that you like and you want to share it with your students. What would you do? Can anyone unmute and tell me how they would share this video with their students?
It's Kristen. I would probably take the link and put it into Schoology.
Right, this link up here, up in the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I would take the URL that's associated with it. Yeah, and
put that into
Schoology.
Gotcha. Fantastic. Anything else? Another way that you would share?
Yes, I would click share on the bottom.
Right.
And then would click copy.
Okay, beautiful. And then you could, and then do you email it, or what do you do with the link after you copy it?
Oh, I upload it to Google Classroom. I mean, I put the clip in Google Classroom.
Excellent. All right. That's another way. Absolutely. Anybody else?
Well, also with the share, you can decide that you want only 10 seconds, right? So when you, on the bottom, when you share, you can say start at, 10 seconds or whatever.
Very nice, Marika. Yes. So if we click this box, right, did you notice that changed the link? So this is our basic link. It's a little different than the link up here, although this now looks similar, but it's a little different. The last bit is the same, but the beginning is different. So if I want to share a video, but I want it to start at a certain point, I get to that point in the video and I click this box, and now this link includes a code that will start the video at that point. Marika, you bring up a good point, because we had talked about whether could you send a student, like you only want to send them, you know, from the minute 19 seconds point to the 2-minute point, like you don't need to see all the rest of it. And in this particular tool, we can only give them a beginning. So it can start here, but then they can watch the rest of the video if they want to. So
How
if
can
I
we
co-
do an endpoint?
Yes, the endpoint is this clip thing. So down here, we have our thumbs up, we have our share, we can download the video, we can clip
Really
it.
important. And so here you can see me playing with.
And the clip allows you to create exactly the portion that you want to give them. So
Great.
if yeah, and that's relatively new. So I haven't actually ever sent anybody a clip yet. But this is how it would work. Let's see, I guess I have to give it a name. So this would be Nell's practice.
This is a new feature, or it was before?
It's relatively new. I've only noticed it recently, but I might not have noticed it, but it's relatively new.
Okay,
So you have to give it a name. You can change, I guess it's going to be public, maybe because the video is public, I'm not sure, but you don't get to change that. And then you share the clip. So now I have this link, and if I give that to my students, they'll only see that piece of the video. So let's copy that and open up a new tab. So view.
Really important.
Yeah.
And so here you can see me
So-
playing with virtual backgrounds.
The one downside, so, oh no, you still get the whole video. Okay. I was wondering if it actually stopped you from seeing the rest of it. So what the clip would let you do is zero in on what was important, but the student would still technically have access to the whole video, which I think is good, but it's something to be aware of. So if you're giving, you know, if it's a really offensive video in the beginning and you don't want anyone to see that, they can still see that. They just, you've helped them know the part that they need to see. Now you could download it. Not all videos allow you to download, but you can download videos and then, you know, edit and just take the piece that's important and put it back up that way. I think in this one I did not. So as I mentioned earlier, yeah, under the description, you can actually put in time stamps. So just like that share button had, you can actually share basically this link inside the about section, and that way the people can jump around inside the video. So maybe at the minute mark, you started talking about phrasal verbs. And then at the 2-minute mark, you were talking about the past tense or something like that. So you could actually label and give people sort of that, like my agenda in the slides today, so people could jump around inside the video themselves. And so you don't have to tell them exactly what time to go look at, but whatever they need, they could come back to. So a video like today, I'm recording this session, that will be an ideal one to, when I put it up on YouTube, to go back and be like, okay, I basically use my agenda and put in the minute markers for when each item on the agenda occurs. And that way, when the viewer comes back to view the video, they can move through the video very easily without having to watch the whole thing. When it's a long video, I think that's a helpful thing to get people.
So you're doing,
yes.
so now you're doing that in a separate document. You can't do it in the video itself.
The way I would do it, I wouldn't do it. I don't know how, so I don't know how to do it in the video itself, but what I would do, and it's not going to let me do it here, but what I would do is because this is my video, right? So then I can go in and edit this section, which is called the about, I think, section. We'll look at it now in a moment when I upload a video. And in here, I can write all of that information.
Okay.
Yes, I should use an example that I have that has that in it. But so we will do that. I will demonstrate that in a minute.
Thank you.
So this basically shows you what I just showed you. It's done as, you know, it's static slides. This is the clipping piece. Right, other places to share video. Vimeo is another great place. If YouTube is something you really want to steer clear of, Vimeo is just as easy to get to as YouTube. It does have an education section, which might be interesting for you to look at as well, but I think has videos about teaching, but it maybe allows you to create classes. I haven't used it, so I gave you the link, but I haven't used it. I'd love anyone to report back on it. All right, let's see here. So I mentioned also that when you have a YouTube account, you can create playlists. And the way that you manage your playlists is over here you have, so I'm logged in. I know I'm logged in because I can see my face up here. Otherwise it'd be a big box here that says log in. So you can log in with your Google credentials. And when you arrive, it's already given you some playlists. They don't necessarily call them that, but basically anything that's a folder, any way that they capture information is a playlist. So you will always have a history playlist, which will show you all the videos you've watched in the past. You'll have a watch later folder that you can add things to. So maybe you come across a video that's very interesting and you want to watch it later, you can add it to that. You can, if you've liked videos, these will automatically show up in your liked videos section. And then once you go in, the first time you upload a video, it's going to create what they call a channel. So everybody gets one channel with their account, and that channel is where their videos go. So playlists can be other people's content, but the channel is always your content. So if I go to my library, I see some of these broken out, right? So this is my history. This is my watch later. This is video I liked. These are my clips, right? So I can see all of these things. This is not the channel that this is not the user account I used mostly. So you don't see a channel right now. If I want to take a video, so what I'm going to demonstrate now is how you would upload a video, right? So first step is you have to go to YouTube. Second step is you have to sign in. Once you've signed in, anywhere you are inside YouTube, you will see this little funny video camera looking thing with a plus sign on it. You scroll over that, you see it says create. So we're going to click create and we're going to say upload a video. As with all things, you can send, so I'm initiating it. So this is the first time you ever upload a video, you're going to get this message, right? So this is great that you're getting to see this today. So welcome to YouTube Studio. I'm going to continue. And now I need to select files. And I apologize, my internet connection apparently is unstable. That's very frustrating at this very moment. But anyway, so I would now, I'm initiating this through YouTube. Commonly, I would start from the video itself. So today, when you make your video, and I'm going to recommend doing it on your phone, from the phone, in the app where you see your video or your photos, you will have a share button. And when you click on share, YouTube, if you've logged into YouTube, YouTube will be an option. So you'll need to log into YouTube on your phone, make your video just using your regular video, your regular camera. When that video is done and you're happy with it, you're going to click on share. YouTube will be an option, and then it will initiate all the rest of this stuff. So what I'm doing right now is the opposite, where I'm starting inside YouTube and I'm bringing a file over. And part of it you will not see because I need to go out and find a video to upload. All right, I have a video. It's a goofy video, but we're going to use it. So I'm going to drag and drop it. And you can see now I dropped it. You didn't see me doing that. I dropped it, which is the easiest way, but you can also select a video from a file if you want to. So it's given it the title that my video had, and I can change it now, right? So Nell's example. I can write description. Now this will be where later on you can edit and come in and put in those timestamps or whatever. But for now, I'm just going to write a short description that says Nell sharing an example. I can't see the thumbnail, so I'm not going to select this now. You can change all of this later as well, but it's, you know, while we're waiting for it to upload, this is a great time to do some of this stuff. So then we have to scroll down a little bit. And if we want to, we can already select a playlist. I'm not going to do that right now, but if you know that this is an example for a lesson you're doing with students, maybe you want to create a playlist right now. And I could do that from here. Maybe I'll do that just to show you. New playlist, video examples. And you see the visibility here is public. So this is about the playlist. The videos in the playlist would also have to be public, but the playlist itself will also be public, and I can change that. So as I mentioned, there are 3. Unlisted means only people with a link can see it. Private means nobody can see it. And public means everyone can see it. I'm fine with that. And I'm going to go ahead and create. And it's going to go into video examples. All right. Oh, so now my video, it was a very short video, so it was already there. If it's a longer video, it takes longer to come up. And now I could pick a different picture as my thumbnail. The thumbnail is what people are going to see when they're scrolling through YouTube, right? So this is the little image that it's holding. I'm going to scroll down. Okay, this is very important. If you click, yes, it's made for kids, it cannot be added to a playlist. I don't know why that's a rule, but that is a rule. So we always click on no, it's not made for kids, meaning that the content is not specifically aimed at kids. You also can put an age restriction. Again, I have no age restriction, but if you know that this is a salty video or something, you can certainly go in and put an age restriction in there, but we don't want to do that. And show more, again, for our purposes, this stuff is very, like, I'm not putting in tags. I'm not really helping the whole world come find my video, but you certainly could do that here. These are other ways that when you're searching for a video, it's using some of this content. So I honestly never do anything more on that page. I click next. This might be very interesting stuff for you with students, that you might want to add subtitles, that you go in and edit the subtitles. You might want to add an end screen. I very rarely, if ever, have done any of those things, so I'm going to skip that part. It's going to check to make sure that you're not using copyrighted information. So if you're showing images that are copyrighted or playing music that's copyrighted, it will tell you here and stop you from doing that. And now visibility. So this is where this particular video, I'm indicating what level of access I want people to have. And I'm going to say public. Again, you're very welcome to do private or unlisted, but know the difference. Private literally means you can give the link to someone else, they will not be able to see it. I made that mistake once, so I want to be very strong, because there's nothing more annoying than thinking that you have shared a video with people and then they can't see it. So probably most of us are, yes, go ahead.
And you cannot send a code like in Vimeo?
So with private, literally no one else. Well, it does say here share privately. I had trouble with that. So I guess you can. Yeah, I guess you can.
Okay.
So you would have to invite people here. You can invite others to review your private video by entering their email addresses below. They must sign into their Google account to view the private video.
Okay, thank you.
So you can do it, but no, there's a struggle. Unlisted or public. So we're doing public, that's fine. And
Can I just ask, can you change those settings afterwards, after you've
Yes.
uploaded? Or okay.
Yes, so I'll show you that after we've uploaded, after we've done this, we'll go back and edit. So those are all my places along this list, right? It by default is saved as private, but once I click publish, it will become public. And I can now share the video. This is a share link if I want it, but I don't need that right now. So it's going to show up here. So now, notice I'm actually in YouTube Studio. This is another really confusing part, right? I just want to get back to regular YouTube. So I'm just going to type YouTube back up in that Omnibox.
What is YouTube Studio?
So whenever you are editing a video, it will send you, when I use this button over here, this create button, I'll click on it right now and you'll see, it sends you to
the studio.
to the studio. And the studio is where your content is
Understood.
editable, right? So you see now it's YouTube Studio. So we're going to back arrow to get back to YouTube. Maybe, there we go. Okay, so I made a video and I'm alarmed and horrified and I want to delete it, right? So how do you think I would get to my video? Anybody have any guesses?
You go back to YouTube Studio, I guess, right?
So I could go back to YouTube Studio. This would be a long way to get there. So what I tend to do, you want to remember this is all your stuff, right? So in the library, well, first of all, there's your videos. That would be one way to get there. And you'll notice it actually does take me back to studio.youtube.com. I'm seeing my videos here. If I click on my video, I can. So you have to select the video, but then you will get this ribbon, we'll call it, and now I can delete it forever. So you always have that. Just feel free, just feel safe, knowing that you can delete anything you want that you put up there. If you don't want to delete it, you can just leave it there. But you can also come in and edit it. And notice as I scroll over it, I get that pencil. That pencil is the icon for editing. And it says details, but that's what I'm going to be able to edit. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the pencil. And it takes me back to that first screen where I can change the description now, right? I could come back in now and I could put in the time stops or more explanation or, you know, instructions to students about what they should do with this video. I can change the visibility. I can, and basically anything I did before. I also can see who's watched my video. I can add other people as editors. Or I guess not that, I can actually edit the video. So I could put in some crazy stuff in there. Again, I've never used this because I'm the quick and dirty part of this. Comments, people could type comments below. Subtitles, if I want to edit them, they're going to they'll use their Google Brilliant artificial intelligence to transcribe what is being said, but you might want to go in and edit it yourself. All right, back to channel content. So this is my channel content. As I add more videos, they're going to be here and they're going to be chronological. And from here, I can see that it was published. I can see that the date it was published, how many times it's been viewed, likes versus dislikes. When I scroll over it, I could go and view it on YouTube. And I have more options, right? I guess I can delete it forever from there too. And I can get the shareable link. So just, know that you kind of need to select something inside that video to get back to it. In the YouTube Studio, I can see all my playlists. And playlists, like I said, could be very useful. So one of the resources we give you in the slides is a link out to the LEC's playlists, because we at the LEC have been doing a lot of curating during this pandemic period. So we've shared a link out to all of our playlists, but we have divided our playlists up, right? So you can go to, and some have only 2 videos, some have 4, some have a lot more. But the idea is that we were the curators. We thought these were helpful videos. They weren't always videos we made. Some of them were videos we made. So that if you came to a workshop and then you needed help afterwards, that you could contact us for sure, but you could also come back and look at these videos. And some are very short. So like the snipping tool one, I think it's only one, and I probably made it, and it's probably like 15 seconds long. All right, I'm going to stop sharing for a second and see if there are any questions. We're going to jump into you guys making a video. All right.
Mel, can I just ask if we're making a video from our phones, right?
Yes.
Do we need the YouTube app, or if we have Gmail, we don't need to do that? Download the app.
So
YouTube.
I believe you do not need it, but I don't know that I've ever not had it, so I might be wrong. We're going to have to experiment. because I
Okay.
actually don't know. You should, because you should be able to do it through the browser version as well. So you're going to make a video. And if you cannot find the place on your phone, if YouTube will not show up as a place for you to share the video, just let me know and we'll come up with another solution. The other solution is for you to send it to yourself, and then you can do it from the computer.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna get to this now. Let me go ahead again and share my screen. All right, so I do show you about embedding here. Embedding is really that idea that the video itself can play inside the other tool. So back up here in the slides, we had a video. Where is it? Oh, this one. So this video actually will play inside my slides, and I did that by inserting it. And then you can find your YouTube video, and it will actually play inside my slides. Similarly on a website, or I don't know if it's true in Google Classroom or other LMSs, but instead of the student having to go out to wherever the video is, they get to stay inside. And it's not just for students, it's for everybody. That makes it easier than going out into the world and like having a hard time coming back. So embedding can be a great way to share if you're using a tool that allows you to embed. So if you have a website, you're using slides, possibly some of the LMSs, you can embed the video inside there. And from YouTube, when we looked at the share, let's see. When we look at the share option, so if we look at the share option, we took this link, but the embed code is here. And it's a bunch of code. And it again, you can have it start at a certain time, but you can grab that code and paste it into wherever you're allowed to embed things. For the slides, I don't need to do that. I can just do it straight. But if I had a website or something, I'd probably have to do it this way. Okay. All right, so here is our work. I'm going to go ahead and paste this in the chat. But basically, take a moment to think about a short video. The goal here is the video. If these topics sound interesting, if you have another idea, that's fine. But we're looking for at least a minute-long video. You're going to use I recommend using your phone, but if you want to use your computer, you can totally do that. You may have to leave the Zoom and come back. I tried doing it earlier and I couldn't do it, but I'm the host, so it might be different for you guys. So you're going to make a short video, and by short we mean under a minute. Some topics that I suggested are 2 truths and a lie, which is kind of fun. You know, you can say 3 things and we have to guess which one's a lie. Tell us how to do something. Imagine that you're giving feedback to a student. Introduce yourself to your students. You know, it's November. You could talk about Thanksgiving or something else that's coming up. And so just imagine a short, and this is, if it feels very, like it makes sense to you, you can make this something real. Otherwise, we're just literally practicing, and you can just tell us 3 things you learned today, right? So content is not the issue right now. Content will be the issue for you going forward. But the key today is just to make that video. So I'm gonna, we end at 12, so it's 11:49. So you probably only have 5 minutes to do this. So you have 5 minutes. Going to make your video. So you're just recording it. Even if it's garbage, even if you're very unhappy with it, please be okay. We'll get rid of it at the end. You're going to upload it to YouTube. And then you're going to share the link to your YouTube video in this document. So this link, this bit.ly video 11.4.22 is a Google Doc where you can just paste the link to your video. If you cannot get it up to YouTube, at least get it into your Google Drive, and then you can always share a link from there. But it'd be really good to practice getting it into YouTube just in case you hit problems. I'm here. So I'm just going to stay here. I'll turn off my audio and my camera, but if you have any questions, just speak up. Go to it. and I'm going to bring you back at 11:55 because we want to look at some of them if they're in that document. So go to it.
Can you share the link for the Google Doc in the chat?
It's in the chat, so it should be the.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just-
Thank
yeah,
you.
You're very welcome. And I'm gonna pause the recording while we're taking a little time away. Resume the. All right, so we have our last. Oh, did I said 12:15? Did I say 12:15 or 12? No, I've forgotten. Anyway, if you're having struggles, please do let us know. It's hard for me to demonstrate. I didn't set up a document camera. If I'm holding up my phone, again, this is something as a teacher that is something we face quite often, which is that if we all are bringing our own devices, knowing other people's devices is a struggle. So I have an Android phone that is super Google oriented, and I've made videos and uploaded them before. So the path on my phone is kind of preset. It sounds like some people have struggled. Either you don't have, so if you have the YouTube app, Kristen was telling us that going to the YouTube app and uploading the video from there worked for her. If you don't have the YouTube app, you will need to send the video to yourself. And Marika tried that and still had a bit of a problem getting the video to read properly. But the idea there was, as with any video that you send anyone, or even if the video is in your drive, you should be able to download it onto your computer. And then you can go into YouTube on your browser and do that little video camera with the plus sign, and you should be able to find that file and pull it up there. I am going to go ahead and so you can see that we have a couple of videos up here. So this is the document that I mentioned that I gave you a link to in the chat, where you can come in and paste your links. Fantastic. I see several links here. And the nice thing here is you can actually go in and watch each other's videos if you want to, and if you have questions about anything, you can ask those. So the idea would be to go to this link, put in your name, and then paste your sharing link. Now, I noticed, Robert, that yours says short in it, and this is something relatively new also in YouTube land, that videos that are under a certain length are called shorts. And the problem I've had with shorts is that sometimes it's hard to share them. Sometimes not. So I'm still figuring out the shorts piece. But I see it's also true in Lindsay's one. So this is the issue with doing short videos, is that YouTube sometimes labels them as shorts, and that is, can't put them in playlists. There's something I've hit up against with that I found frustrating. Nice. So I see, Robert, that you used your YouTube app on your phone and then open the YouTube on your laptop and copy and paste the link into Google Doc. Beautiful. Yeah, it would be hard to do on the phone. That's a great point. But the next step would have been probably to go back to your computer to find your YouTube video, to get the link and put it in this document, rather than doing that part on your phone as well.
Yeah, the Google, the first, I made 2 videos. So the first one was directly on YouTube, a YouTube short. The other one was a short video I recorded on my phone from my camera, then uploaded it to YouTube.
Very
So-
nice. And yes,
Yeah.
you bring up a good point, right? I've been talking about you making videos and then uploading them. What you're talking about is that you also went to this create button in
Right.
YouTube, and you actually you did it go live, right?
Right, I used their tool, like the YouTube tool, to create a short video.
And I don't think it's going to work on mine because I have my camera already working on Zoom. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Oh, this is live streaming, which is not the same thing either. So live streaming is another thing to think about, which we're not going to do today, but it does allow you to actually do your, you could actually be live streaming your Zoom meeting, right? So instead of doing Zoom, you could go through YouTube and have a live demonstration of something. It's not, the interaction there is almost all writing.
Nell?
Yeah.
Oops. Oops.
Yes.
Hi, Nell.
Yeah.
That document, did you put our is it restricted to the people you've listed? Because I can't access it.
Oh, that's very frustrating. It shouldn't be. So let me go in and double check the settings. So it should be anyone with a link should be an editor. Let me copy the link again. It could be the shortened link made it weird. Let me put the long link in the chat.
Okay.
All right, so that's a long link to the doc.
Okay. Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, you can always send it in the chat and I can paste it in there. It should work, but I am
Okay.
using my work account and sometimes weird settings occur there.
Okay. Oops.
Nell, this is Sharon here.
Yes.
I uploaded, which, getting a YouTube link is so much better than sending all those slides by email.
Right.
So I did upload a bunch or one of the slides and it went through fine. I
Okay.
used it through my YouTube account. But where do I indicate, I'm doing it on my phone, where do I indicate the email address of the person to whom I want to share it, my student?
So you're going to have to, you might still have to email. Let me stop sharing for a second. All right. So you might, oops, I'm hearing feedback. So I'm going to mute some folks just in case. Come back in. All right. Okay, so when you are looking at your YouTube, let me share again.
I have the link and I,
Yes.
hit share through email and it shows up and I can type, but will he be able to open it?
Well, do you want to test it and send it to me? You can send it to me if you want to test it. It should work. That's exactly right. So if I'm looking at my video, right, so I found my video and I want to share it with someone. Today, what we did was grab the link, but you're absolutely right. So I can click share and I can email it. And the email, in this case,
These
it's linked.
slides, you can practice pronunciation and fluency.
So in this case, it goes into my regular Outlook email, and then I can just type whoever it's to.
All right, I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
What email do I just put in?
So it's NELLE at LACNYC.org.
I'm sorry, at
LAC NYC.org.
Why some links are long and others shorter?
So if you get the link from share, they should be shorter, but I don't know. I've had that, and it still gave you a long link. I do not know why that is true. I've seen it before because I wanted to give people examples of really long links. Like if you look here, my link in the Omnibox is super long, where the short one inside here is shorter. I don't know why. That's good homework for us to find out why the links are such a range.
This exercise you can practice.
And
this exercise you can practice pronunciation and fluency.
For you, with your student, you could create a playlist and he knows just to come back to that playlist, or he could subscribe to you. So subscribing on YouTube means that anytime a new video by that person or that creator is added, they will automatically go into that subscription. So if I scroll down, you can see who I'm subscribed to, I think. I'm not subscribed
They
to
also
anyone yet.
give you the option of channel. That's different, right?
So the channel, you have a channel now, right? If you've added a video, you now have a channel. It will only show your videos. You can share your channel with somebody else if you wanted to, but in this example, right, you might end up adding other videos. So the channel is a total mishmash of every video you've ever made. The playlist would be one way to organize it, right? So you're just only going to add videos on this specific topic to this playlist that has a name or for that student. And then you could share that playlist link and that student could come back to it over and over again, or they could subscribe to you. And that way they would get once they go to their subscriptions, they would see all as the new content is added. If that makes sense.
So Nell, did you receive my email?
I'm going to check right now. I did indeed. And let me try opening it. There it is.
Please slide.
Okay.
Fantastic. So yeah, that definitely works. Now, if, for example, right, oh my gosh, Sharon Norton, she does amazing stuff. I want to subscribe to her. I click on subscribe, right? So now I'm subscribed to her, and it means as you add content, Sharon, when I go to my subscriptions, and of course it's not showing it to me now, not doing the thing I thought it should do, which would be to show me as you add new content. So right now I'm only subscribed, here I can see, right? I'm subscribed to Celia T. This is all Celia T content. If I click Sharon Norton, right, this is where I would end up seeing all your videos. I'm not sure why. Did you delete that video that you just put up?
No, I did not.
I don't know why it's not showing that.
Maybe under playlists. I put it under playlists.
Yeah. Okay, so it might be best for did you give it a public view or an unlisted view?
Unlisted.
There you go. So unlisted.
Oh yeah, because right.
Yeah, so unlisted view will not show here. Public will show here. So again, something to think about. If it's just something for your student and you are happy sending them emails, that's great. If you want it to be something that they could come back to more easily, consider making them, what was it? Not private, unlisted. I guess you have to make them public. So something to consider. Totally understand why you would want to keep it private or at least unlisted. So you have that option, but that's how the subscriptions would work. So as content is added, that content will be here, and it makes it very easy for you to keep track of what people are doing.
Okay. This is really helpful. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you guys for working through it, because it's tricky the first time, and I hope you don't leave today feeling like, oh, that was really hard and I never want to do it again. The point with all of this, obviously, is that the more we do it, the easier this will work. So Adeniki, I see you want me to check the document to see if yours showed up. Let's go there and check it out.
I think some links didn't work, I feel.
Okay.
I don't know why.
So what I'm noticing here, this is a great other moment, learning moment. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. So I see several links in there, which is fantastic. Very excited about that. But I see some of them are live, meaning they're blue, and some are not. To make a link in a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet or whatever, to make a link live, the easiest way, and I'm going to let you go in and do it to your own link. You're going to take your cursor and put it at the end of a link, like that, so I can see the cursors blinking, and I'm going to hit the space bar, and that should make it into a live link. So if yeah, there we go. I see Biroshka's done it. So if I was to take this link, well, let's find one. Just for the sake of sharing, right? So I'm going to take this link up here and put it into the spreadsheet. So when I put it in, it's not live, but I'm right at the end of it. So now I'm just going to do a space bar, one click, and now it's live. And that's a great shortcut to make them clickable links, which is just a little easier. Now in Google, it's still a little weird. If I scroll over that and I click on it, I actually have to click on this little pop-up window below it to get it to open. I can also copy the link here. I can edit the link and I can make it into a non-hyperlink. And I actually saw someone wanted to know about hyperlinks earlier. So another way to do this, right, is to write a word. So if I write Nell, and I already had that link copied, I can highlight Nell and go up to the ribbon where I have this little icon. And I click on that, I paste my link into that box and I click apply. And now Nell is the link. And that's what we call a hyperlink. So these are technically hyperlinks, but we name them the same thing as their actual URL. This one, we gave it a different name, but the URL underneath it is still there. And when I click on it, as I mentioned, you have to go to that link below to get out to the video, but this is where I might edit the link. So for example, I might decide it should be Nell is yellow, why not? And then click apply, and now it added that whole label to it. So usually I would write my whole label, highlight it, and then make that connection to the link, but you can go back afterwards and edit it that way too. All right, we're going to take a moment and we're going to click on Lindsay's link and see Lindsay's beautiful link to her beautiful YouTube video.
Hey everyone, so I'm going to do two truths and a lie. First, I've been crowd surfing. Second, I've never left New York. And third, I can say my ABCs backwards.
What? Okay.
Hey everyone, so
and see, so that keeps going, and I think that is an element of the shorts concept. Oops. So the shorts do tend to keep going like that. That's fantastic. Thank you, Lindsay. Should I play it one more time? We can actually guess. You can put in the chat which one you think's a lie. So here we go.
Hey everyone, so I'm going to do two truths and a lie. First, I've been crowd surfing. Second, I've never left New York. And third, I can say my ABCs backwards.
All right, what do we think's the lie, guys? Never left New York, Kristen says. All right, Marika also thinks that's the lie. Interesting.
They're right. That's the lie. Yeah.
Well
Definitely
done, guys. Well done for guessing that. So you have been, which is always the fun part, is like, so you have been crowd surfing and you can say your alphabet. That's fantastic. So you could see that could be a great activity either on the Flip or through video like this. And you can see why the benefit, right, of using a tool like Flip where the videos were just there, even though some of you I know struggled to get them into the conversation, and that piece we need to work on. I'll see if I can do a little demo video and I'll share it with you all. But Flip made it, it took out several of these steps and kept it relatively private, where YouTube has been a little bit of a struggle for folks. Again, I think most of those will be worked out once and then you'll be easy, but figuring out that first time is definitely the tricky piece. And part of that, again, if I was doing this with students, I might want to make sure that everyone has the YouTube app or not do YouTube. That might help things too. So making sure that, and doing that on a different day than actually using it. So that's the luxury of having multiple meetings, right? Is that you might on Monday, make sure everyone has YouTube, and then Friday you actually use it or something. So people have time to decide if they want to get it or move your workarounds. And you can also do it so that they email you the link and you're the one who uploads everything to YouTube. But I do believe that everyone should know how to do this. They don't have to ever do it again. And certainly you should feel free to go in and delete or change the privacy settings on the videos you did today. So as a reminder, that'll be our last thing. I'm also going to put the evaluation in the chat. Are there any other comments or questions or observations? We covered a lot today and it was a deep dive in the sense that you actually made 2 videos maybe. But we also talked about why and how to use video. And I think I'm excited to hear back from you in the future if this led you to make your own videos or whether you're at least feeling more comfortable bringing video in. Anybody, any questions or comments?
I have a short question
Yeah.
regarding YouTube.
Yes.
If you have different Gmail accounts, right? I have
Yes.
2 different email accounts. So every time that I enter, it's a different channel or something
So
different.
you have 2 different YouTube accounts, and that's kind of what I was hitting up against today, right? I'm usually nell@eckersley@gmail.com, and that's where all my actual videos are. Today, I was using my LAC Google account, and that had very little content. So you actually got to see me for the first time put content in there, or second time, I guess.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is something for you to be aware of, right? That Google accounts, the YouTube is just another app, and if you log in as Nell Eckersley or you log in as Nell Eckersley at LAC, those are 2 separate accounts.
Okay, yeah.
And the videos are going to sit in those 2 different accounts, and that can be, this often leads to experiences that make people very worried because they don't know where their stuff ended up because they have more than one account, and that's the same with your Google Drive, right? Like I made this document.
Exactly, yeah.
So you have to be very clear in your own mind about when you're using one or the other.
Okay.
I don't know if you're using more than one account, but you can actually have access to them pretty easily through Chrome.
Actually, that's what I'm asking, because I use the phone and
Yes.
it was already there in YouTube, another
Oh.
account that I have that I don't even
Yes.
use that email so
Yes.
much.
So you should be able to switch between accounts on your phone.
Okay.
I'm going to look at mine because I have that problem on my phone too, especially as it's Android. It has all my Google accounts kind of floating out there. So when I'm looking at my YouTube on my phone, at the top, there's a little image of me. And if I click on that, I should be able to change the account that I'm connected to.
Okay, leave out or change the account. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll show you. Let me take away.
I'm not really familiar with the YouTube thing, so that's good because I'm learning now more.
Yes. No, they made it easy, but it's also hard. So let me stop my weird background and just show you what I see when I did it this way. What I've learned that when I show my phone and I have my, so I
Yeah. I haven't seen that option yet here, but I check.
Right. So I went up to where my face is on the left side there.
Yes.
And when I clicked on that, I got that option with all my different accounts. Right.
Okay.
So I clicked, so that little sideways arrow beside my name.
Yes.
Then I got that box that lets me move between different accounts.
Okay, I have here add an account. So then I have to add an account. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So Google has tried to make it, they recognize that many of us have more than one account and they've tried to make it easy, but sometimes it can be very confusing. I posted on the wrong account before. So again, take the moment before you share. You're like, ooh,
yes.
What am I doing today?
Thank you.
All right. Well, still ask questions. The link, I know, Marika, I know we messed up the timing on that. Last time I ended early.
No worries. No worries.
But we did record today with that idea.
Exactly. Great.
The beginning. So the evaluation link is in the chat. Please fill out the evaluation. I've already shared my links with you, but I'll share all of that in an email, and it really helps me if you do your evaluations. And please let me know how it went and any questions you have. It helps Liz Elena also know what workshops to plan for in the future. And if there's follow-up you would like from this, that's something we can plan for, or even I can make some little videos and share them with you. So again, thank you so much. And if you didn't get the video loaded yet, but you're brave and strong and you have time, you can continue adding. I won't really be dealing with the documentation until next week. So feel free to keep trying and add your link to that, to our document. And if not, just email it to me and I can add it too. All right, thank you so much. You were intrepid and resilient today. It was a lot of going in and playing around, so thank you. And patience is key with any of this, right? It will work. There just have to be these like workarounds or whatever. All right, thank you again. And
Thank you.
and I'll share the link to the video too, which I will put on YouTube. So you'll see it there. All right. Take care, everybody.